This is what it looked like on Mount Washington today, where the air temperatures could smash records at 50 below.
New Hampshire's Mount Washington is known for having some of the worst weather in the world, and over the weekend, a hiker died after a daring rescue attempt.
The Mountain Rescue Service is made of members that are extremely skilled in the mountains. Just understand that help is often hours away.
Winds westward, gusts up to 95. This will give us a wind chill falling to 60 to 70 below.
Hi, this is Joe Martini of Mountain Rescue Service. The Fish and Game has asked us to respond to a hiker with an injured leg. It is currently 12 below zero with an 80-mile-an-hour wind on Mount Washington. I moved up here back in 1975 because I'm a climber. And if you're a climber in the East, this is where you want to live. My name is Joe Lentini.
Roger on Union 121.
How many rescues I've been on, I honestly couldn't say.
My name's Alexis Siegel, and I have been a member of Mountain Rescue Service for the past 7 years. The rescue system in the state of New Hampshire is kind of this patchwork, and it relies heavily on volunteers. There's carpenters, climbing guides, teachers. Everybody brings a really unique perspective and skill set.
We're not all necessarily close friends, but we are family. We rely on each other.
The Mountain Rescue Service specializes in technical rescue, so we're going out in situations that are potentially dangerous.
And we work in conditions that most people find unimaginable.
Part of what makes it so unique is that it is really accessible to people.
Sometimes people come up here that maybe aren't quite prepared for what they're doing.
When the weather is bad, all you have to do is lose your mitten, and you've got a serious problem.
A hiker rescued in the White Mountains over the weekend has now passed away.
Fish and Game have not yet released the name of the hiker from Canada who died at the summit of Mount Washington today.
Tell us, I guess, what you're doing these days.
Yeah, my name is Hugh Herr. I'm currently a professor at MIT. The year of the accident was 1982. I started climbing at the tender age of, I believe I was 7 years old. I studied mountaineering. I knew what to do in avalanche conditions. I knew about rope technique, glacier travel. My partner, Jeff Batzer, he expressed an interest in going to the summit of Mount Washington. That was the intent for our climb. When we left the hut, it was snowing lightly. We got to the top of Odell's Gully, and we huddled behind a rock out of the wind. At that point, we made the critical decision to continue towards the summit. And I remember telling Jeff, let's just go 3 minutes. The visibility got to the point where the probability of us descending in the right direction was very, very low. I screamed at Jeff, let's get the hell out of here. We turned what we thought was around and descended very rapidly. It was too late at that point to retrace our tracks.
I got a call that there were 2 climbers missing. That's all we knew. They had been in Huntington's Ravine, and that's the last that was seen of them. There was a crew, about 10 of us, Steve Larson, Bill Kane, and Albert Dow. Albert was just an exceptional rock and ice climber. We went up into Huntington's Ravine. We broke into teams of 2. That clock is always ticking.
We continued to bushwhack probably until 2, 3 a.m. and we just couldn't move anymore. We had severe hypothermia and frostbite.
Albert and his partner Michael had done Odell's, and at the top they saw tracks. The radio crackled, and I heard Michael screaming, "Avalanche, avalanche." One team went up to get Michael. The rest of us did a hasty search, and after 5-10 minutes, somebody on my left goes, "I got him." We got to him. He wasn't breathing. We dug him out. He had caught a tree on the way down and broken his neck. I was with 12 of the toughest people I've ever known in my life. And everyone was crying. He had a fiancée. I got to her, and I could just see that she was screaming.
At that point, it's 3.5 days roughly, approaching the 4th day. Most people believed that we were dead. You know, at a certain point, we gave up all hope, and we gave up all attempts to survive. But folks were out snowshoeing and skiing, and they followed the footprints to our cave. We were taken to Littleton Hospital in helicopters and treated for hypothermia and frostbite. Both of my legs are amputated below the knee. Once we arrived at the hospital, a rescue team came in and asked us what happened, told us about the avalanche and Albert Dow perishing. To me, that was just the lowest point in my entire life, hearing that a fellow climber had died while searching for Jeff and I.
People are really quick to judge victims after the fact, but we've all kind of, pushed the limits at times, and that's part of how you learn too.
I hated the people who we were searching for. But I realized that I hated this young man because my friend was dead, but Hugh was 17. Sometimes you just push that little too far, and you don't know what's too far. You're learning. Hopefully you learn from it.
Albert Dow's death was very profound for me. It transitioned to shock and to rage at myself for making bad decisions in the mountains and really putting others at risk. That rage, I think, drove me, ironically, to climbing again with artificial limbs. I took on the view that I was gonna use every cell of my body to do something positive with my life. I thought it would be a degradation to Albert's memory if I didn't do so.
He is the world's leading developer of prosthetic limbs. He has done so much for other people.
Oh my God, I can't believe it!
These are tears of joy.
We, the people, need not accept our limitations, but can transcend disability through technological innovation. If I pitied myself and didn't apply my mind and body to something good for society, I thought that would be an absolute disgrace to Albert's sacrifice.
Once I was a traveler, I slept alone.
Change has come in the wake of Albert Dow's death in the form of new laws protecting rescue volunteers.
The legislature passed a law where mountain rescue volunteers are covered now by life insurance and workers' compensation.
I go out because climbers take care of climbers. When we help a person in the mountains get out, and we know if we hadn't done it, they probably wouldn't have survived, you feel you've done a service.
100% believing that your life is ending, and then suddenly you realize that it's not ending. Just the joy that we felt was quite extraordinary.
Once I was a traveler, I slept alone. Called the lost hills and the eyes came out. But the shackles, they buried my head from the flame. And when the tide rises, I stay the same.
I'm gonna do a couple of French Canadian crooked tunes.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
A lot of these mountaineering movies, they always have the bad weather and the guy saying, "How bad do you want it? We gotta get to the summit." Well, if you went out with us guides, we don't want it that bad, It's not reality.
The mountains aren't going anywhere. You can do something a little more chill and come back and try again another weekend. I think going with a partner is another huge safety net because you can carry a lot more equipment between two people than you can by yourself.
But I don't think you should stay home, even if you're a ranked beginner. You gotta go out and you gotta push the limits, or you're not gonna ever learn anything. That was three tunes.